Wake up, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Today I've got Spencer coming in, taking his break, working from home. We're going to just sit down and then we're going to talk a little bit about Epstein, this COVID policies here in California and all over the nation. And we've got basketball that is coming back. Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Tip-off. I cannot be more excited. So we dive right into sports, give our NFL picks for the week, and we have a nice little pizza pick'em friendly bet between Spencer and I. Loser has to buy the other family a pizza delivery. But before we start, you know we've got to get the plugs for our affiliates. Buzzsprout. Have you been wanting to start a podcast? It's really not difficult when you have the right partners, and Buzzsprout is literally the place that you need to go. We use Buzzsprout, and it's easy. We record our podcast, set it up, drop it in, and they take care of the rest. From Google Podcasts to Apple and Stitcher, Castbox, whatever you listen to podcasts on, sign up with Buzzsprout, and you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card after your second paid invoice. Are you stuck at home, afraid to go to the grocery stores? They're overcrowded? Yeah, me too. I'm really sick of it. So Instacart, give it a try. Instacart. Follow the link in our show notes and it'll let you know that we sent you. And multiple stores are available to have their shoppers hand select the items that you're looking for. Deliveries to your door in just under an hour. Check out Instacart, click on the show notes, and get the grocery shopping without having to leave your home. COVID's driving everybody nuts, and we're about to talk about that. And finally, sponsored by Rosie Cooks out of the greater Northern California wine country. Rosie Cooks is an absolute amazing team to work with. Look them up, follow them on Instagram, ROSEYCOOKS, and prepare to drool because her food is absolutely amazing. It is the step above everyone else. This catering company was built around one woman's vision and passion to infuse flavor in every item that comes out of her kitchen. RosieCooks.com and Newness Productions, NEWNESS Productions. Any of your videography or photography needs, from weddings to corporate events, commercials, and promos, Newness Productions does it all. Enough of all that. Now let's get on with it.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day.
This is ridiculous. It's crazy. I feel like I'm babysitting, except I'm not getting
I
paid.
heard police work is dangerous.
It is. That's why I carry a big gun.
Aren't you afraid it might go off accidentally?
I used to have that
What
problem.
did you do about it?
I just think about baseball.
Declare.
Whose children is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
I gotta go to college. Danny, this isn't Russia.
For a disaster of biblical
What
proportion.
he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
Dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
That's what she said.
Welcome on, Spencer.
From like,
Yeah.
bracket.
Well, things were going on via. Oh man,
You good?
I got the Rona. Anyways, no. Cool. Well, welcome on. Cheers from an hour away.
Cheers.
Anyways, cool, man. Well, we got it all set up. I've done one before this.
Like officially do this remotely if need be for any weird.
Yeah, or if we just need to do our pick'ems. I mean, I got them. We can do our Spenny and the beard pick'ems.
In the beard.
I want to get like a
The camera when I'm doing this, like maybe a little bit more.
yeah, real serious.
It's better. Okay.
You know, I was watching him last night. I was like, dude, this dude reminds me of Spencer. If you were to take Spencer and drop his ass right into a role of a like a sports analyst or whatever, Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I love him and the guy, the punter for Indianapolis. Pat
McCaffrey?
I think so.
Is that what it is? Him?
If he or something, this dude was like the top rated punter. I think he on PFF he rated like a 92 one year. Anyway, never for a punter.
No, I was just watching him and I was like, why does this dude remind me of Spencer? Like if you fast forwarded Spencer's life as a sports analyst by 20 years.
I could see it.
Anyways. All right, let's jump into NFL because I'm going to get into politics with you and I want to just talk about like what's up. But I'd rather start with some football. So why don't we just do our pick'ems right now? It's just first week pick'ems.
Wait, okay, hold on. Now I gotta go. You know what? Instead of doing the whole tab thing, I'll just go via my phone.
I can tell you right now, Thursday night game's the first game. Texans versus Chiefs.
That's a great opener.
I'm gonna write these down.
Texans.
Hold on, Spencer.
I'm putting Chiefs, man. I have to.
Spencer's got the Chiefs. Returning champs. All right. Sunday, first game. Eagles versus the Washington football team.
Oh God. That's the worst name.
Why?
It's obviously gonna be the Eagles.
I wish they would have went with the DC Sentinels.
They should have.
Just for a year.
Okay. They did take out the trademark, though, for that to be their official website, apparently. So I was someone was like data mining and found that the Washington Redskins also took out like a domain name for the Washington Sentinels.
I hope. That's the only one I would want. I think that would be my second choice underneath that Red Tails we talked about.
Washington football team. I can't wait to see their logoless. By the way, I'm gonna order like a Washington Redskins jersey just on discount and say that I have it.
Oh, do you know how many Falco jerseys would have sold or been made to sell if they would have went with Sentinels?
If they would have done that, they'd easily first day top selling jersey, top 10, hands down.
Anyways, all right, Eagles versus Washington football team. Eagles.
Which, by the way, I am very surprised Carson Wentz didn't make it into the top NFL 100.
That thing's so overrated.
The NFL top 100?
Yeah. Who was talking about it like historically? If you look at it, you know. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna give you my two. I'm gonna keep up with you. I'm gonna pull an upset. I'm gonna go Texans first week out, and I'm gonna go with you on the Eagles. I think Eagles take that game. I think it's too much drama in general. All right, second game, Dolphins Patriots.
I'm gonna say Dolphins.
It's a total like.
You also got to take into account that now, 6 or 8 of the Patriot players are opting out? And one of them is Dante Hightower. So that's a pretty big veteran presence on your team gone. He produces every freaking year. So I'm gonna have to go with Dolphins on that.
All right. I'm going to go Pats. I think Pats blow it out. I think this is what I think. I think they're going to come out, they're going to light it up, and then everybody's going to be all hyped, and then they're going to shit the bed.
No, not going to happen.
Against the Dolphins?
I think this whole coronavirus in New England thing is going to result in more players taking the year off, and I think this is Belichick's masterminding of his way to get one of the top picks in the draft and then trade for, to get Trevor Lawrence.
All right. What do we got next? We've got Packers, Vikings.
I'm going to say Vikings.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I don't like the Packers anymore. I know
it's not if you like them or not. It's not the quiz.
I just don't think they're as talented as they think they are. I think getting rid of Stephon Diggs was a huge hit to Minnesota, but they also got Justin Jefferson, the speedy rookie out of LSU. I think they're just a better overall team, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
I'm with you on the Vikings. I think the Vikings take that game. Colts, Jaguars.
Is this like the Suck Bowl week?
Yeah, it's a total toss-up. That's what it is. I mean, the league is flattening.
Who's the quarterback for the Colts now? Is it Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they picked him up, but I'm not. Yeah, it's Rivers.
Okay. I'm gonna go. It really is a toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Colts. Wait,
Yeah.
Is it away? Okay, Colts away, Colts home.
Colts away.
I'm gonna still say Colts.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next one is Bears, Lions.
Lions.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'm like, no, they're gonna lose. That division is not good. That whole division. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's really hard right now. Like I said, everybody really is kind of leveling out. I feel like it's really getting to a spot where everybody can be competitive. So, but I'm with you, Lions. Okay, Raiders, Panthers.
I'm gonna say Raiders. Is this in Las Vegas? Is this gonna be the first game? No,
in Carolina.
I'm still gonna say Vegas.
Yeah, I'm with you. Raiders. I think they light it up.
Luke Kuechly.
I didn't hear anything. I
think he took early retirement.
I've been trying to follow sports news as much as possible. It just gets buried so much, and we're going to go into that, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been such a slow period through COVID and 3 months of sports writers praying for a story to drop. It's been a few months since I've consistently heard a good story.
Yeah, most of it's just highlight stuff. All right, let's keep rolling. Jets, Bills. Jets at the Bills.
Bills.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, we're going to differ there. I'm going to go Jets.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you picking the Jets?
To be straight, flat out honest, I have no idea. I think it's going to be a competitive game. But I think I just have more faith in the Jets organization.
They lost Jamal Adams. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think this year is going to be on Sam Darnold. He's been decent.
They don't have they don't have the best schedule. Especially for being the Jets,
Right. I think their owner just got chewed out by Jamal Adams for something racist. I can't.
Everything's racist right now. Everything. If I don't buy a black Sharpie, I'm racist. If I buy a black Sharpie, I'm racist. I don't,
Correct.
I don't know anymore. Everybody love everybody.
Your favorite color? Why? I'm gonna overanalyze that, and I don't know.
Okay, but here, you want to listen to the Jets schedule? Week 2, Niners. Week 3, Colts. Week 4, Broncos. Week 5, Cardinals. Week 6, Chargers. Then Bills. Then Chiefs. Then Pats. Then Dolphins. Then Raiders. Then Seahawks. Then Rams. Then Browns. Then Pats.
that literally has to be top 5 toughest schedules in the NFL.
While I was reading that, all I could visualize was a steamroller just slowly coming at you. Okay. All right. Browns Ravens. This one's hard because divisional games, especially in this division, are fucking hard to pick.
Ravens.
I'm with you, but I want to note that this might be an upset here.
I want to know why. Why do you think it's going to be an upset?
Because I pay attention to this division. My Bengals are in it, and every time one of us plays one another out of the 4, it's just an annihilation. And it's just this like brutal. I mean, it's like watching a heavyweight match. They just go at it. You know, typically they're nail biters or they'll pull away in the last quarter. But
I remember being last year, the Browns versus Baltimore. I think that might have been one of their few losses. Was Ravens losing to the Browns?
Yeah, like I said, they're tough. They're tough games. They're fun to watch. It's that AFC North's no joke when they face each other. They're old school looking games. Anyways, all right. Seahawks Falcons.
I hate the Seahawks. So
I know
much.
you do. You got to take the bias out of it.
I know I have to. Julio Jones, Jamal Adams. And I keep freaking talking about this Jamal Adams trade because maybe as a Niner fan, I'm a little bit bitter.
See, that's your one and only allowed bias is you can pick your team. Okay. But you can't pick the ones you hate. Or not pick them.
You can't not pick the ones you hate just because you hate them. I'm gonna say Seahawks, but it's not gonna be a blowout. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a really, really close game.
I think I picked the Seahawks too. I want to pick the Falcons because it's in Atlanta and it's in the dome, but the Seahawks are used to the loud acoustics. They have one of the noisiest, just nastiest sounding stadiums. All right. Chargers at the Bengals.
I'm going to say Chargers, and I'm sorry.
No, you're all good, man. I cannot pick my Bengals. I have no idea what Joe Burrow is capable of. I know they just signed him, contingent upon he completing the physical and everything, and which he most likely will. Yeah, he's going to get signed, and I think he gets like a $28 million signing bonus or something like that. It was like $20-something million signing bonus. Yeah. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's a lot. What's that?
I think that's all fully guaranteed too.
Yeah. And I was just thinking that's a lot of money for somebody who has seen 0 NFL snaps. 0.
Am I crazy to say that I think Joe Burrow is going to see out his rookie contract, but then jump ship?
You think so?
I think that's a fair assessment.
I think the way I look at it is almost like the organization is almost in Joe Burrow's hands. If they don't build something for him to take them all the way, he actually makes something of himself, and he proves that he's the star that everybody keeps making him out to hopefully be. If he proves that, then he'll jump ship. Why wouldn't he?
They need to make some moves to get him some freaking protection, dude. That line last year was absolutely decimated.
Oh, it's garbage.
Time I watched a Bengals game, Dalton was on his ass 90% of the time.
Yeah, it was garbage. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Bengals. I know you got the Chargers. Got this. Okay. Cardinals at the Niners. Game opener.
Ooh, that's a great. Oh my God. I think the Niners lose.
Really?
I'm gonna pick the Cardinals week 1. I'm taking your advice, taking my bias out of this. I think
Cardinals
take it because I think Kyler Murray is going to be more mobile than he was last year, and that killed us. Not to mention they've got DeAndre Hopkins they just added, and if he's lining up on the opposite side of Richard Sherman, we're in trouble because we still don't have an answer for that defensive back number 2. It was a fight last year between Akello Witherspoon and Emmanuel Mosley. And Witherspoon kept getting just beat every single time. And so there's a fight there. I'm gonna say the Cards.
Wow, I'm surprised, man. I'm really shocked. I picked the Niners. I did. I think the Niners are gonna rocket their game opener, and then I think everybody's kind of figuring Garoppolo out a little bit. So if he doesn't figure out whatever magic he might have inside him, his career might be shorter lived than he thought.
And I think I go the Cardinals too, because
Cards. Wow.
I want the Niners to experience a loss early on so that they're like, are we going to fight the Super Bowl hangover or are we just going to lay down? And that's what I want to see out of them. I want to see some fight from the Niners, and I need that fire.
I'm going to say it one more time before we go forward. When have the Niners ever gone to Super Bowls twice and lost? It's never. Yeah.
Time.
Only started after they tore Candlestick down and moved their ass into Santa Clara. I'm just saying the curse may be real.
Into the Candlestick curse?
Yeah, I'm just saying it might be real.
I 100% believe that it's real. And it's also in part because they were going to try and build this stadium and then build a parking lot. Well, the envisioned parking lot was going to be on an Indian burial ground. And
is this like confirmed? Is this confirmed information?
Go Google it. I don't care.
Google.
You go Google 49ers Santa Clara Indian burial ground.
I'm just saying 2 Super Bowls.
It all comes down to 2nd and 5 from the 5 fucking yard line. And all he could do was hand the ball off to Frank Gore, who had a lane to the end zone. And what happened? Kaepernick's terrible time management of the clock forced Harbaugh to take a timeout with 1 second left on the play clock. Right as Kaepernick takes the snap, you see just a lane wide open for Frank Gore to take it to the house. If it had not been for if Kaepernick would have just gotten the ball off 3 seconds earlier.
You don't have any you're not still sore or
I'm sore.
Are you?
I
couldn't tell.
4 years.
All right, 4 games. We're gonna wrap it up. Last 2 of the Sunday games. We've got Bucks at the Saints. Bucks.
You're going Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because they got. I keep thinking it's last year's Bucks.
You don't think that it's like
they got.
You don't keep thinking that it's like 2017 Patriots.
It's exactly what I envisioned.
Almost. Anyways, okay, this next game, dude. Okay, this is completely whatever happens with Dak Prescott. Cowboys at the Rams.
I think those are probably the 2 most even teams.
And what's their quarterback situation? Is it going to be Dalton or is it going to be Prescott?
It's going to be Prescott. I think.
Well, they're trying to finish a deal.
Okay, and if he doesn't, is he planning on holding out?
No idea. That organization, Cowboys are always such a mess. They're always such a drama bag, you know?
Yeah.
They
have needs and they never address them. It's all about the offense, even though their defense always seems to have holes.
Like, take your dating history and pick out the most drama-filled person you've ever dated, and that's the Cowboys.
Personification of the Cowboys.
That's them. Anyways, You know what, just before hopes that Dalton gets to start that game, I'm gonna go Cowboys. I hate saying that, man, but it's almost as bad as rooting for a team that's in LA. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding.
Can't stand. It's the traffic's terrible. I for some reason I just can't. I can't like anything about Los Angeles.
I'm gonna go Cowboys across the board.
I'm actually going Rams.
Oh, Rams! All right.
I'm going Rams. I think
all right.
Division in football.
Oh my God.
You all right there?
Yeah. No, I'm not.
Yeah, Golden Mike is not so golden anymore.
Monday night, we've got 2 Monday night games. Steelers at the Giants.
I'm gonna go Steelers.
I'm gonna pick Giants.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Yeah.
You think Daniel Jones is gonna do well for him?
I think Roethlisberger might have had too many donuts in the offseason. So I think he's
beard.
I think he is banking on the fact that COVID's going to take this whole season down. He's good.
Yeah.
No, I have no other reason other than I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
yeah, I saw it in your eyes. The name of their team.
I tried to pull the bias out of it. I can't take my own advice. All right. Last game, Titans, Broncos.
Titans, because I don't think the Broncos can stop Derrick Henry in the run game.
It's going to be a wild, interesting first week if we have a week.
That's a big if right now.
I'm so frustrated, man.
I was hoping this sucks, man, because it was like the Super Bowl happened, and then 2 weeks later we're hearing little rumblings of COVID. Like, oh yeah, it's just a problem in China, no big deal. But month later, shit starts getting real. And it's like I wanted football season to be that escape from reality and just all that's going on. And it's looking like we're not getting that escape, especially with all these players getting put on active /COVID lists and allowing teams to be up to what right now it's 80 players. How many players are they going to be allowed on each team to account for the losses of not injured players, but just someone who possibly came into contact with COVID? Like, are we going to set the team roster? It used to be 53-man roster. What is it going to be? 65? It's going to be 70. Like, what's the deal to account for those sick players?
I don't know. I don't have any answers at the moment. From my perspective, when I'm looking at kind of what the players are tweeting and what they're saying, it's very reminiscent of what builds up before sports goes on strike. And I'm really kind of worried about that. Like, these players are going to start, or at least a magnitude of these players are going to start going on strike. And all it takes is somebody like Drew Brees, who has been vocal about the COVID and needing protection and, whether or not they should even play. It just takes one of those dudes to say, I'm not playing this year. And how many others are going to follow. And there goes the season.
Yeah, it takes one superstar to surrender their whole, or whatever, not maybe their whole salary, but a large chunk of their salary for the year to be like, oh, our lives are bigger than this game.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's frustrating as we sit here, it's going to come off as privileged talk. We're frustrated over sports, and there's bigger things going on in the world right now. And I 100%, I agree that there's bigger things going on in the world. However, what we're upset about is literally there's nothing else but that to pay attention to. We don't have any type of release. There's no fun every time we leave the house. So my wife and I left the house yesterday. We went grocery shopping, right? And this dude was just like barreling through the parking lot, and you're seeing more and more agitation just from people. And he like straight up slammed the front of his truck right into a shopping cart and flipped it like 3 times into like away, and then peeled off out of there. You're just seeing more and more agitation from people because this is all we're dealing with is COVID. Literally it.
On my way to the store today, I get my stuff, I get in the car, and I'm looking at my rear view, my backup camera. And I back up and I'm looking, and there's a lady not on her side of the street, but on mine, like trying to get around, like a little old lady putting away groceries. And she's in my way, and she's mouthing like, he's not even paying attention. I'm like, you don't see what I'm seeing. I'm looking exactly at my back rear view camera, and you have no knowledge of anything that I'm doing. You're just automatically assuming and judging me, saying that I'm not paying attention. And I agree. You're just seeing agitation. Everyone just pissed off.
Did you yell at her? Did you roll the window down and be like, I'm watching you?
I took my mask off. I pointed at her and I said, ha, 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 like just to get on her nerves just a little bit more. Because people are getting upset over things that just don't matter. And it's reaching a peak. And I think, talking in this thing of sports, we wanted it to be an escape or just a distraction from all the reality and real stuff going on. We went from basically 2-3 sports going on at once to nothing. And
literally nothing.
It was like we cut it cold turkey.
We need that release. That's all we're kind of like venting here about is there's nothing to root for, and I think that's where sports is like, so why people miss it so much, at least for me, is it's something to root for that's like positive, that makes you feel good. Or even if you're not watching your team win, you're watching a good game. It's like it gets those endorphins, kicking. It's a good time. It's reminiscent of last year, which seems so long ago, where you're just sitting around eating salami, cheese, and crackers watching the football games,
Yeah. And I think what we're missing about it too are the social aspects. Like,
that's what I mean.
Sitting down and watching a game, but being there with your friends, or talking it about, fantasy sports, like, haha, I'm beating you by 15 points or whatever. It's the social aspects of sports that we're missing, and nothing about a cardboard cutout behind
I can't take that.
I hate it.
Oh, no, what you're saying is everything. What I mean is it's every bit of it that injects that positivity, that flow of like, oh, it's Sunday, like it's Sunday. You get my text where I'm like, it's game day. Yeah. So
Cincinnati for a away game.
Or it's just anything, you watch like there's a good hit, or there's just like this miraculous throw down the field, and it's just lighting up highlights. It's cool to share that.
OBJ with a one-handed catch.
Any of it. Yes, any of it. All that stuff. We're missing it because the only videos that are being shared right now are protesters and on both sides, and people getting upset and throwing fits, and Karens, and the one Karen at the lake in Fresno, down in Fresno County, that lost her shit, had that meltdown.
No, I haven't seen this video.
Oh, Spencer. What?
I've seen so many Karen videos that it's all kind of together in my brain. Maybe I have seen it, but
probably.
God, man.
Long story short, this lady is a nurse down in Fresno County. Her family were coming in on rafts. and these other ladies were like down by the beach area at the lake, and she was flipping out because she wanted them to move to make extra room for her family to come in on the rafts, and was screaming at them saying that they could have COVID, and they were trying to say, you can ask us to move it nicely, and the lady was just flipping out, demanding that they move, and they were like, no, if you're going to demand, no. And then she just lost her shit. I kid you not, she broke out a tape measure and was like, she was measuring off how many feet they are, and her husband or some other guy that was with her was literally holding her and wrestling her away as she's screaming like, I hope you get the virus and die. You know, I'm protecting my family. It's a total meltdown video, but I'm kind of glad that you haven't seen it, because that's kind of what I mean. Those are the types of videos that's all being passed around. There's no slam dunks yeah.
It's like two spectrums. You either have the teenagers doing their little dances, or you have to go to reality, and everyone getting mad and angry over being in their houses.
Anyways, so all right, so we got our sports talk out of the way. It violently turned left. God dang it, man. Let's crack these beers. What'd you get?
I got Brew Free or Die IPA, and
where's that out of?
We're talking about politics, and it's by 21st Amendment. It's probably one of my favorite IPAs, actually. They're from San Francisco, and I've never seen their stuff in a bottle, and they've always gone aluminum can. It's actually probably my preferred way to drink a beer. It's out of a can. Maybe I'm just an Okie, but or maybe I care about the environment.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I'll say that. It's good. It's 7% and 70 IBUs, International Bitterness Unit. What did you get, sir?
Let's see. I got the Lagunitas 12th of Never Ale.
I've had that, actually.
I have not tried this yet, so this will be a first. All right, buddy. Virtual cheers.
Oh, hold on. Wait. Cheers. Funny story. My mom's side of the family, Carragers, they shared the same plot of land as Abe Lincoln's family way back in the day. So there's a thought that maybe our families commingled and had children and together. So good stuff. Good old Uncle Abe.
Uncle Abe. Mr. Honest. All right. So let's talk about that. Because, okay, I have all these projects, and part of the reason why like our first couple episodes on the podcast sounded so terrible is because I was waiting on shit to get here in the mail. And I'm not talking like this happened to me once or twice. This has constantly happened. All our packages are like delayed or lost, or I mean, we've had Amazon ship us 3 or 4 different new things because they just don't even know where they are. Right. So the Postal Service is an absolute wreck right now across the nation. And we want to talk about mail-in voting, because I just watched a commercial by the ACLU and advertising why mail-in voting is the good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and say, as of right now, horse shit, because I can't even get something that was shipped from me 2 hours from my house within a week. Yeah. How in the hell are we supposed to trust mail-in voting?
It's a complicated thing. I mean, if it weren't for COVID, this wouldn't be an issue, obviously. I think mail-in voting right now with all the delays that they're having. I mean, they're talking about if you want your mail-in vote to be counted, you need to be sending it like halfway through October. And you don't know if something weird is going to happen on the campaign trail within, that last month. I purposefully ask for a mail-in ballot. I take it home with me, and on election day, I fill it out and I just turn it in to the traditional, booth or voting location. That's how I roll, just because I know that there always seems to be some breaking news story about some candidate that it could be vote altering, that's my policy. So with this mail-in voting thing, I get why they're trying to do all mail, but with the delays and the potential for voter fraud, it happens. Because back in 2016, I went out to campaign for a member down in Southern California, and someone had stolen my ballot out of my mailbox, and I didn't have any recourse. So I went down to Southern California, campaigned, came back, and found out that, someone submitted a ballot for me in my name. And it just blew me away.
How'd that work?
So if someone steals your ballot out of your mailbox, you can go through the process of requesting a new ballot. Hey, that one will be invalid. But
typically that whole process is so.
I just thought, hey, I didn't even know it was stolen until maybe a year or 2 years later. I just assumed, okay, I sent one. I just didn't vote that year. Big deal. No, it turns out that I go through the voter records because back in 2018, I ran for Lodi City Council, and it shows, no, Spencer, you submitted a ballot. And I'm like thinking in my head, no, I didn't. That was the year that I didn't get a ballot. So maybe I'm making an accusation that it was taken, but stolen out of my mailbox, but someone had my ballot, someone had my name and submitted it on my behalf.
You think mail-in voting, or okay, if it comes down to yes or no, mail-in voting?
I wanted a mixed system. I wanted a mixed system where you can choose vote by mail or.
Why? What is the reserve on doing anything digital?
Okay, they're
obviously hackers. I understand that.
Hackers.
But we're dealing with the same kind of bullshit with the mail. So what's the difference?
I think there's just a lot more potential for. I think that just opens the door for a lot of things. Because I really think that if you are going to submit a vote online, you probably need voter ID. And that's, I think, the big hang up is, okay, yeah, you can submit your vote under your name, but please provide your, voter ID number to ensure that this is a valid vote. And I think that's the big hang up on it. It's been a really long time since I've dealt with federal policy. And so dealing with this idea of all mail voting across the nation, I only view it. I haven't looked into it all that much. I'll be completely honest.
Well, I don't know, man. I think it's bullshit. I don't think it's and I'll tell you what, I was watching that ACLU
commercial for it, and it's almost like fear mongering in a way where they're showing you these long lines and aren't you grossed out by this type of images, like aren't you afraid, don't want to do that, mail-in voting, here's why, and it's like this long commercial, almost like promo on pushing the mail-in voting. And first off, I'm going to go on a mini tangent here. Let's not forget that the ACLU is also the same people that sued the federal courts to allow individuals to live in their vehicles and on properties. And then after that happened, there was a giant fucking surge of homelessness amongst California that has caused a huge exodus of people out of the state, out of cities, into different towns.
If we want to talk about the reason behind why homelessness is so big, it's a little bit of that, where we're allowed to have people living in public spaces. But the other half of that is the way that we incarcerate people and the changes to policy in regards to letting people out of prison early. Because we changed all these laws, taking all these felonies down to misdemeanors. And then from that, you've got these people that were great. They were released from prison or released from jail or whatever. And they are now out on the streets with zero rehabilitative services out in the community, or very little. You've also got these people that have been released who now, on every application that they file for employment, for housing, all of that, they now have to check the box that says, I have been convicted of a crime. And on any employment or housing application, you think the landlord or employer is going to want to hire you or allow you to live in their home?
How many of those people do you really think check that box, honestly?
Well, they're required to by law.
But they're required to do a lot of things
too. So there's a large population of people who are formerly incarcerated who are in the food service industry or in our underground economy because there's no background checks, or the employer is not wanting to conduct.
Don't you think that, like, once you take the criminal aspect out of shitting in the streets, camping in the streets, camping behind buildings, living in your car in front of somebody's house, and doing, once you take that criminal aspect out of that, once you make it illegal, and I'm not talking about like this whole imprisonment, because what I'm saying is they sued to not allow officers to say, hey, you guys got to move. You got to move your stuff. You cannot be here. You got to go. Not, we're going to take you to jail for being here. They took that away, the ability to literally move them on. And if you've been...
There's no teeth.
What?
There's no teeth to the
yeah,
law.
So don't you think that once those are removed, that that kind of opened the floodgates to go, okay, I'm going to sit here then?
Of course. And they know it. And there's, there was a guy, a police chief down in Southern California who was at a assembly budget sub 5 committee hearing, which deals with public safety and judicial issues. And they were doing this whole thing on why is homelessness growing. And the police chief, I believe it was Chula Vista. Don't quote me on that. He came out and said, well, 45%, like 35 to 45% of the people that I deal with who are homeless know that they don't have to move. And you can try to coerce them. You can try to tell them, hey, I'll give you a sandwich if you just leave. Again, 35 to 45% of those people just simply don't want the help and refuse it because they know that they've got a freer lifestyle living on the streets, with nothing to keep them from changing their habits. Because as soon as you enroll for a program, as soon as you go into these living arrangements, they have to abide by certain regulations. You can't drink. You can't do drugs. You've got to leave your possessions at the door, kind of situations. And a lot of them don't want that. And so they find it freer to live down by the river, with little to no one telling them what to do.
Well, I guess back to what I was.
Sorry if I went.
No. We went on a little bit of a tangent, and we can go on about the homeless. We know basically what needs to happen, and it just needs to be kind of
see it on an everyday basis.
Yeah, so
it's kind of just days.
But back to my point was the ACLU. If you watch that commercial, it's very kind of fear mongering, and I'm already weary of anything they release, just because, I feel like they really opened the doorway for California to turn really disgusting. So
no comment.
Anyways, but
and here's the deal. I get it. The people at the ACLU, they are very kind-hearted. They are always giving the benefit of the doubt to people. They're very caring. They don't care if you're an incarcerated person or a law-abiding citizen. They care about your civil liberties, your political liberties. They want to expand. There are a lot of good causes that the ACLU supports, but there are some that maybe I personally don't support. I've got a really big problem when it comes to victims, because yes, we can side on the side of the person who is incarcerated, but understand why they are in that place. Understand that there does need to be some level of punishment for these people, and the victims deserve justice. That's where I draw the line. I am always on the side of victims. I believe that they deserve justice. I just want to know why they care so much about all voting done through the mail.
That's where I'm
just kind of a wait. What? Forcing people to, or not allowing people to go to a voting booth or a voting station doesn't take away your political liberties. I don't know.
Here's my issue is if you're really paying attention and if you look on both sides, if you can truly remove your biased opinions out of both parties and just go meditate, whatever, and sit down and go, I'm going to look at this from the perspective of, I just walked in on America and I'm going to go, whoa, what's going on here? And I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look up what the left's saying. I'm going to look up what the right's saying. I want to look up what the libertarians are saying. I want to look up at what matches all the documents. The COVID being this mass panic, I think the general amount of Americans have kind of realized it's not that big of a deal. It's
a mountain out of a molehill.
Right. So then you go a little bit further. Why is this being made such a big deal? And then you just kind of let it lead you and follow you down the rabbit hole. And then we just kind of keep getting spit out at. It's so dangerous that you have to mail in vote.
Dangerous. It's sorry. Go on.
Yeah. I don't like. none of the policies make any sense whatsoever. Nothing makes any sense. You want to trust Dr. Fauci, but then you watch him get just reamed with these questions about whether or not the protests are helping spread the COVID, and he's just like, no comment. No, he's just basically dodging the questions, and he's like, I don't know what you want me to do. He keeps saying crowds and gatherings of all sorts are helping assist the spread of COVID. And again, he gets questioned. He goes, yeah, but your words have helped shut down churches from being able to even be open, from workers going back to work, but 500,000 people can go out in the streets and protest. And he just dodges the questions a lot. He doesn't ever admit that protesting, he does and he doesn't. He does it in like a bullshit kind of way, and then you've got the Frontline Doctors, what that happened this week. And they come out, and then they just basically, all they do is focus on this one doctor that spoke up out of all of them. And she's got kind of this religious crazy background.
Out of like the 7, right?
Yes, and that's all we're talking about. And so on me, again, being from a neutral point of view, I'm going, well, can we all shut up and like hear what the other ones have to say? Like, can we seriously stop shutting up the one lady, and can we listen to the other ones and research them? Why is nobody reaching out going, hey, all of them are crazy? Why are we just focusing on the one?
CNN bashed Trump about his hydroxychloroquine. I can't say it. HCD, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll call it hydro. Well, hydroxy.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Chlorowine.
I'm from Lodi. Why not? Why not? They bashed Trump about it, and then a couple months later, they released an article that says, actually, hydroxychloroquine is actually it's proven to kind of help. And it's funny because they've got the same author who bashed Trump and then confirms that it's actually somewhat good. It's just funny to me.
You know how many articles I've seen like what you just said, where they will bash something, say it doesn't, and then later on they come out and it's like nobody's paying attention, that they just like retracted. It's almost like a strategy. Like, we can say whatever we want, everybody will sling the mud because they hate this dude so much, and then we can come out later and just go, well, it kind of helps.
Follow-up story. He was kind of right. But let's put that on the back page, or let's put that in the, well, let's not spend a lot of money on the sponsored ads for this one.
Did you watch that video of Fauci being questioned?
No,
I'm going to send it to you.
Send it.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to post it too on the Morning Brew.
I just think policy regarding COVID-19, there's so many loopholes that people have found. Like, I want to know why. Okay, why are airlines allowed to pack airplanes full of people, yet you can't have a church that is like,
that's the questions I'm talking about.
Square feet of space, and that's, by the way, only possibly on a good Sunday, maybe 70% full. They can space families out. They can do all that.
Those are the questions I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that their policies don't make any sense.
It's okay. We'll give an exception for this group, and it's the same thing with the bars and restaurants thing. Like, okay, what you're going to force them all to have outdoor service only. Okay, but why? Is there any data or any evidence actually showing that going to a bar or going to a restaurant is the sole cause of why we have so many COVID cases. There's no data. There's no evidence suggesting that. And yet they've places are open. Yeah. And I just don't get it.
No, neither do I. None of it makes sense. Again, I'll say it every single week. Can't go to work. Can't go do any of the stuff that you want to normally do. You have to mail in vote. Oh, but I can take my 3-year-old or my 4-year-old out into the streets with thousands of people and have them hold a sign that says "fuck the police." Did you see that this week?
Yep, I did. And I believe it was a toddler who just like also at the same time threw up the
There's video of it, of the parents literally telling the kids to say it, and then the kids are saying it.
God, man. Well, here's the deal.
They don't have any clue what's going on.
You use kids
as a weapon.
As a weapon, yeah, all the time. I mean, I've watched so many committee hearings where I support Assembly Bill 2255. Thank you. And do you know what the bill does? Like, oh, you're such a strong voice for the. No, you're just a child. You have no idea what this bill does. You're doing this because your parents are telling you to do it. You've not formulated your own opinion around this.
I gotta ask you personal opinion, man. You're deep into politics. We talked about, I think the last time you were on, we talked about your kind of catalyst into politics. Yeah. And but we both agree politics are so corrupt and full of shit.
Agreed.
All right. So everybody says it, you got to change it from the inside. And I agree. You got to change it from the inside. But how do you not get lost on your way into the rabbit hole? How do you not get lost into, fuck, I owe Senator so-and-so a fucking favor? How do
I'm very blessed to be a part of a firm that doesn't give political donations, so I don't deal with any of that crap. I don't owe anyone favors. No one knows.
You think it's only related to donations?
I think donations and possibly, hey, we sponsored this bill for you, so hey, do us a little favor too. I don't know. I'm
just asking.
Get in. I don't know.
I'm asking, like, do you yourself put your, because I look at you and I know that you love your family, you love your kids. I know you're a good guy. So do you ever like really say to yourself, or have any type of mantra? Maybe you don't, of like, I need to keep myself in check while treading these waters, or.
I'm putting myself out right now being on this podcast, kind of, because I know that my own personal political feelings can be interpreted a certain way, or
but that's politics. That's exactly my point, is you are getting in the game. So you have to put yourself out there, or else you don't get known. And that is that's the game, is you
get known. My goal is to provide for my family and have a little bit of fun. And so this to me is kind of the fun aspect of politics that I enjoy. The dirty stuff, like how a policy is made, all that stuff. You go in. I entered my internship back in 2015, thinking that I was going to change the freaking world, right? And you're part of the system for a really long time, and it starts to wear on you that some topics just can't be talked about. Policy, like real true policy change, like huge reforms don't happen.
Why?
Because everyone's treading lightly. Everyone doesn't want to be disruptive to the system or the status quo. And
everyone tries to tread lightly, and what happens sometimes is groupthink. Like, you get these groups of people that they get torn to political polarization, and the person with the most liberal or the most conservative idea, well, in California it's liberal, ends up being able to convince, hey, if you go so far left on an issue, starting off with a bill and then kind of tread your way back, like, okay, we can make some headway on a certain issue. They'll take amendments and do all that to make their bill a little bit more palatable. Which sometimes authors get in a position, or I should say politicians or assembly members or senators, whatever you want to call it, they get in a position where they come out with a set, I want to accomplish this. But there have been multiple occasions in recent years where the bill has gotten so watered down because of opposition coming from so many different places that authors have straight up said, I don't even want this bill anymore. This isn't what I signed up for. And it either gets taken over by another member, or they keep it, or, it's just, they don't want to fight for it. The real change.
If you run, though, you're kind of like a different breed, because
I don't like the money. Don't get me wrong, I like the money, but I don't like that if someone gives me money, I automatically have to abide by their rules.
I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that. As a voter, I don't see any of that. I see when I look at you or I listen to you, you mentioned that, like, just by coming on the podcast, you're kind of putting yourself out there. But however, there's nothing that you say on this podcast that either you wouldn't either admit to openly if confronted about it. And there's nothing that you say on here that most people probably wouldn't find on your Facebook page. I mean, you're pretty open politician about where your stance is, which is a rare breed, which is kind of that whole, I don't want to say,
being authentic as I possibly can. And it comes from that experience of being in the building and seeing so many fake people. And it's not to be rude. I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm just being honest that my time in the assembly, people have cared a lot about their image and a lot about how they appear and look rather than being true to themselves. And it comes back to bite them, but it just, that's my goal. I just try and be as authentic as possible.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I like that, because the last person that ever asked me for, like, their vote, or whatever, I was bartending.
Approached by a political candidate kind of deal?
Yeah, so no, it was just like I was bartending, and he was there he was talking to the bar owner about some political advice, and he was running for, I want to say city council or something. I don't remember, but I came on shift. He goes, oh, hey, I want you to meet Eric. So we shake hands, and hey, you a voter? And I was like, yeah. And he just like throws his card down, and he's like, here, vote for me this upcoming. And he like turns back to the owner to go start talking to him, and that was it. That was the total interaction. And I slid the card back. I said, keep it. And I went back to fill the ice well. And because that to me was, you immediately lost my vote. Immediately, because you didn't ask me a single question. You didn't tell me what you were.
professional with this card here.
But that's your typical politician, though. They don't care anything about what the hell I had to say or ask or anything, or just
But
need
there
you.
There
are. But
And
that's why I said you're a different breed.
And I think it really does come from, dude, I had some freaking awesome members that I worked for. Assemblyman Tom Lackey, probably one of the most genuine dudes. He was an ex CHP officer, and this dude had the most caring heart. He was also a former special education teacher, and just a good overall dude. And then I've also got I also worked for Assemblyman Kristen Olson. She was just authentic and real and always happy and cheerful, and she was just a great role model. I think it's because my authenticity comes from seeing and being a part of those teams. They had a great impression on me, and I want government to work for us, man. It's just, it comes down to us.
The problem with being that authentic politician is you tend to be an easy target for the kind of twisted, shady ones.
Right.
It's really easy to say, anti this person. So, yeah, it's really easy to sling mud. But how the hell did we get off on that tangent? I swear to God, I'm gonna start calling these the Spenny and the Beard tangent hours. Fucking down this. We went from Frontline Doctors. Where did we go?
Oh, you're right. We did start at Frontline Doctors.
That video kept getting just removed everywhere. Just pulled down, and I had a big problem with that because I posted the video, and all I wrote was I was like, interesting indeed. It's just an interesting watch. What happened to just letting us decide?
They think that they know better than us. I'm
okay. No, you're saying it exactly how it is. Because that's where my mind went was. So who decides that needs to be pulled down? If our president posted it up, who decides that it needs to be pulled down across everywhere?
Well, just think about that. Like, it's not even just this video. Think of any future time where a president throws out a tweet or posts a video to Facebook, whatever. Are we giving these social media giants the power to censor? And are we just giving them, are they going to be in charge of the media that we are receiving?
They already were.
There's another platform that's actually popped up. It's a couple of my conservative friends have shared, like, hey, go to this one. This was a free speech social media account. And I'm like, I'm going to check that out because maybe I don't want my comments removed. Maybe I don't want my posts that I truly support to, it's going to get to that point eventually. Yep. I really think so. That these media giants are going to be the ones in charge of feeding us what's actually happening.
How many articles from The Onion I've seen passed around or any of that bullshit, but we can't decide for ourselves whether this or not is real. And what makes me really upset is, again, think of it deeper than what you're just being exposed to. Okay, so think of it this way: certain individuals, we're going to go back to what we were discussing earlier. There's no repercussion in telling people just be safe, that's not real, that doesn't work, and just be overly cautious. There's no real repercussion there. So the worst that's going to happen is they got to go, oh, well, actually it does work. So that's good for everybody, right? But with these doctors putting themselves out there like this, there is a big repercussion coming if this doesn't work for all of them. If they put themselves out there, like they're putting everything on the line, their medical license, everything is on the line right now because they just said 2 tablets once a week will do you good and it will be better for you and almost cure and keep it away. These doctors are putting all that information out there, their entire futures on the line, because if this goes wrong in any way, shape, or form, like we're being told from the other side, they're fucked.
And I think that shows how important their speech is. I think that shows how valid their claim is. They're putting everything on the line to share that this is going to help. It's not a cure, but this is going to help.
It's almost a cure.
And there was another dude from Yale that came out after this this was published, or this video came out, and he said, yeah, they're right. I've tried it on some of my patients, and they've shown positive signs, not cured, but hey, these people that are having trouble breathing, you take this, they're able to breathe within 4 to 5 hours. They're showing greater signs of activity. And my whole thing is, what harm is it doing? And I need to watch it on this. What harm are they doing?
Okay, so here's the harm. This is where they're saying that the harm is coming in, is that they're claiming that there's deaths linked to taking the hydroxychloroquine. Now, there are deaths, and they did discuss that, and they said, yes, at toxic levels. That's why it's 2 tablets once a week. You know, if you take anything at toxic levels, you take aspirin at toxic levels, you're going to die.
Right.
So that's why they're trying to get the information out there, and that it's very specific. I do know that one kind of crazy doctor that they're all making fun of did call Fauci out and say that she wants him to piss test and make sure that he's not taking it. They want to see it. It's not even in his system. So they're literally slinging, going, hey, you want to go toe to toe? And we're putting it on the line, and we're saying this works, and we're all being silenced for a bullshit political reason. It's not like it's that big of a conspiracy. I mean, we had a fucking coup to start a war with Cuba in the 60s. I mean,
right. I find it funny, dude, all these conspiracy theorists that are getting labeled like that, it's turning out that maybe their claims aren't that crazy. I mean, look at the freaking Epstein shit. I know that's a totally different topic.
It's on my list.
But back in last year, you had all these Hillary Clinton supporters saying, like, you don't actually believe that that the Clintons killed Epstein, do you? And then now there's this documentary that comes out, all this shit on Ghislaine Maxwell. And
that was released today. Did you see that?
What was that?
Did you see what was released today?
The names.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The names, a lot of them were blacked out, but what was released was one of her biggest claims that was in her favor was that she said she had 0 contact with Epstein for the past decade. And sure shit, they released those documents, and there's an email of him coaching her how to plead like not guilty to sexual abuse charges within 5 years ago. So it totally just annihilates her, like just blown out lie. Some stuff about their attorney that was accused, and the Prince Andrew stuff. I mean, it's just,
she really should have done the Hillary Clinton method and just destroyed her.
What? Like with a cloth? Oh, and that the FBI had that Prince Andrew photo for over a decade. So they've been doing squat with it.
Yeah. They tend to fuck up lately.
It's really hard to not pay attention to a few little minor conspiracy things, such as stuff like this, because it seems like every time an Epstein or a Clinton trial information is dropped, we're dealing with a new piece of information of either UFOs, or we're dealing with something with COVID deaths just spiked somewhere massively, or
mass distraction, man. Look over here. Look at this stuff, not here. And it's funny because like you go on BBC and they cover this. They cover this stuff really well. You go to international markets, they're on this Epstein story. American markets, not so much, because, well, they have
there's vested interest in there.
There's a lot. Have you seen the marriages between like children of like
Woody Allen
media outlets and the Clintons? And by the way, this is my cat Jingles. He's cool.
Sup, Jingles.
Sup, Jings. But yeah, dude, you've got marriages between like prominent politicians and the mainstream heads. It's crazy.
Well, let's take today, for instance, okay? Ghislaine Maxwell's unsealed documents comes out, and now all of a sudden Fauci is recommending us to wear goggles.
I don't think it was a recommendation. I think it was
face shield.
If you want to better protect yourselves,
was it that?
Wear goggles.
Is that what it was?
By the way, dude, I just to play some games around town, I actually bought a Batman, the Bane face.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be wearing that around town.
I bought one too.
Really?
I bought one that was literally made. It's a COVID mask, so it gets rid of the centerpiece. So it's just the whole. I'll show it to you. It's on the way. I bought that, and I bought a knitted Deadpool mask because why not?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Dr. Anthony Fauci says goggles would provide complete COVID-19 protection.
So many questions with that.
CNBC.
Virus. What about the eyes? I'm just medically stupid. I have no idea about healthcare or anything like that.
No, it's so much. We keep talking about misinformation. Just don't listen to these people. Only listen to us, even though everything that we've said has basically been wrong.
Yeah, wrong.
We can't figure it out ourselves, but keep listening to us.
Yeah, it all comes down to China not giving us the information when we requested it at the very beginning. Like,
no. Don't you know Trump created this virus in his spare time
to make travel restrictions in China, but the Dems are too busy trying to impeach him, and so yeah, his decision making might have been affected by that impeachment trial. But at the same time, like, he was trying to stop the virus from coming to the United States through travel, quote unquote, travel ban. And it's funny because now that we have the virus, all of these European countries are saying that they are not allowing air travel from the United States to their countries. Are they deemed racist?
I have a friend whose husband is literally stuck in it's either Vietnam or Korea for the next year.
That sucks.
Yeah. Because he was over there for work while this broke out. And he never got on a flight before the restrictions went into place. It's crazy times, man.
Well, there's a lot of college students that are also required to stay overseas right now too.
Let's because again, we keep saying a lot of stuff that's like super pro Trump. Let's turn the tides a little bit. There was that comment did you see that where he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well?
Yeah. It makes me wonder. I'm not going to lie. Especially with him living so close in to at Mar-a-Lago to the Epstein. I
didn't like that comment.
I don't like it either. I think that was a stupid choice of words.
If he truly, and I mean this, if he truly didn't pay attention like he said he did, like he said he didn't, you know, if he truly has zero idea of what's going on, which I don't believe, that's the only sense for that comment. It's a shoot off the cuff, like I know nothing about it, like I wish her well.
Yeah, it could have just been nonchalant, like, well, we'll let the judicial system deal with her. I wish her well, whatever.
But again, I keep going back to that too, is nobody has said Trump. None of the victims have said Trump was on the island. None of the victims said Trump was one of them. They've all either said Clinton, Prince Andrew, Epstein, Maxwell. I
heard him and Epstein were not on good terms because of like some auction that was going on in Florida over property. And
that makes sense.
He got in a dispute with Epstein and cut all ties from him after that occurrence. But
that would make sense. Trump, it's not like it's out of his character.
Right. I mean, you beat me on a business deal?
On a real estate deal.
And perfect. Yeah. And he's a real estate model. So, I mean, mogul, I don't know.
Mogul? I'm going to start calling it Mogul now.
Mogul?
It sounds like a creature out of Lord of the Rings.
I just think of Harry Potter and muggles.
Dude, Maxwell Epstein shit's getting crazy.
It is.
Did you you being a musician,
go for it.
Did you read that musician that was talking about how he was hired by Maxwell to write a song for her boyfriend Epstein, and she wanted the contents of the song to be something about 24-hour erections and schoolgirl crushes?
I heard it was like a happy birthday song, but like altered to talk about his 24-hour erection and things like that. That's over the top, man.
He had said
in person.
Yeah, and he had said that he typically deals with multiple people when writing songs for individuals when hired for stuff like that, and he was only allowed to deal with Ghislaine. Jelaine? Is it Jelaine?
Jelaine?
Ghislaine? You know what? She doesn't deserve me getting her name right. Fuck that bitch. Ghislaine.
She'll be suicided here shortly.
And then in the background, Hillary's like literally, if you look it up, you'll find it, but you'll find it in law journal articles and stuff of what's going on with Hillary. No media coverage. Zero.
Thing about Hillary, during that whole 2016 presidential run, have you seen the pictures of her either with a catheter or a monitor? And so I was talking to my grandpa about this, and I'm like, what's up with her? Like, she's always doing her campaign speeches from like a stool, like sitting. She's always doing her campaign messages sitting in a chair. Is she all right? What's going on? And my grandpa says, she probably has like MS, and that's not going to come out for a couple of years.
Yeah,
So-
I remember you talking about that. I remember you talking about.
You see that Ellen is under like investigation right now for terrible workplace.
What's going on? I
She's I think it's the FBI is like investigating her and the station, thinking that she's provided a terrible workplace environment. I don't know the gist of it. That's the headline.
Like she's like a raging lunatic, or
I don't know.
huh? No,
She's also linked to this whole Epstein thing, and that's kind of why I bring it up.
There it is. Okay, here it is. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit last month heard oral arguments as to whether Secretary Clinton will have to sit for a deposition in similar case over her use of a private email server. Okay, so it was ordered that parties will appear before the courts for a status conference on December 4th, 2020. She's ordered to reply before September 4th. So all of this stuff is going on in the background.
I said tick tock.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff is going on in the background.
4 days to respond.
But look how long that took me to find that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. And I'm going to...
Is that what you're arguing, is that the really pertinent information to Americans is being hidden at the bottom and the last page of every newspaper? I agree. Sorry, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist.
No, let me put it in the most simplest of terms. When you go to the grocery store, all the shit that's on that's shin height is the cheapest stuff out there because it's completely out of your view. All the stuff that's right in front of you is what they pay money to put right on that shelf space, right there, where the customer looks straight on. And that's exactly what I'm saying is what America's looking straight on, look down. There's some shit in the gutter going on.
Look at these COVID numbers.
Yeah, let me look at all the cases.
Let's not focus on the recoveries. Let's not focus on, hey, I just added my county numbers and they only came out to 7,648 when the county is saying that there's actually 10,625. So are there 3,000 cases reported by the county that aren't actually there? Sorry, that's what I found out recently. I added up all of the COVID cases in the cities of San Joaquin County. They only came out to like 7,500 or something like that. But the county was reporting 10,600. And I'm like, so are there 3,000 cases in unincorporated areas? What's going on? But there's no data. There's little information and there's zero transparency.
So
and
how are they just announcing that biggest gap of a number? That 3,000 is kind of a fucking jump.
They announce this number and it's in this bold print. But if you go to this other little info box and you start clicking individually on the cities and you start adding up the numbers, it's actually 3,000 cases less than what the county is saying the total number of cases is. And this isn't talking about recoveries or anything like that.
And this is where I mean, like, everybody's going fucking nuts. Like, everybody, this right here, listening to you say all that is driving me nuts. That individuals have to literally do that. We can't just trust that somebody would report something well.
Yeah, and there was
correct
dashboard that was designed to have this information available to the public as transparent as possible. And what's happened over the course of time is they're starting to delete modules off of it. Like they were reporting hospitalizations and ICU numbers, and then they slashed them, took them off, and then you have to go to a separate website to get that information from the county's emergency medical services or agency or something like that. And it's driving me nuts because every single time that something like that happens, it's like there's just this feeling that they're trying to hide something. And it doesn't feel good then that's why there's such a distrust in government right now. That's
hide or make people only focus on that one aspect, because I feel like that's because the mass majority of people that are outside when you announce numbers like that they're all masked up, they're taking gloves on, they're like taking it real serious because those numbers are high right now and that's all they're paying attention to. They're not doing what you do and go to county websites and then add everything up and go, wait a minute, you guys kind of full of shit. What's going on?
And I trust the county website more than I do the state, because this is like the front of the line stuff before it gets reported to the state, where there are so many people that are deeply entrenched in politics and people that are deeply entrenched in, you know, political parties. I mean, anything that comes out of the governor's office, yeah, we want to view it through this nonpartisan lens, but you have to remember he got elected as a guy with that D next to his name, and is making appointments to certain agencies for people that also have D's next to their name. And it's the same thing with the Schwarzenegger administration appointing people with R's next to their name, you know, because you're Republican, you're going to want to reward the Republicans. And with each of those moves, it turns facts and statistics on its head to have a political purpose.
I mean, do you think this is all bullshit?
What is all?
No, okay, like let's put my opinion out there before yours, because I've basically got nothing to. I think this stuff's real. I think the virus is real. I think it's about as real as like Ebola was when it was kind of breaking out and stuff. And I think it's being blown up to be this serious thing when in reality it's only attacking the fairly, for the most part, health compromised individuals. Nobody's being told to take care of themselves, take any type of supplements or vitamins. Nobody's being told to do anything that takes care of their body to combat this. We're all just being told what not to do. There's just too many indicators that are like, this is fear mongering. And then you have this video that's released this week with people that are literally putting their entire careers, or right now, to this day, I bet you every one of their palms are sweating because they might have lost their jobs if their information isn't correct, but they need to believe in it. So there's a lot of crooked shit going on in the world. It's not like it's unbelievable. Again, I think the virus is real. I just don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's being controlled, at least the panic of it.
I think it's real, but I think that the numbers are skewed because there's money involved. And when you hear that someone with pneumonia is diagnosed at a hospital, that hospital gets $7,000, but if someone is diagnosed with COVID, that hospital gets $29,000. And on top of that, if the numbers get so great, they also get free medical supplies from the government. It creates this thought in my mind that it's all about the money. And I don't know what to believe. I want to trust government, but there are so many instances in which I can't trust the government to provide me with the right information. And then
I get it. So let's stop talking about like the hypotheticals of what we want and what we wish. what do you see happening, man, in 1 year from now? Like, I'm really worried because if this is politically charged, if there's some conspiracy or corrupt crap behind this, and this is like, we hate Trump so much in his administration that that's where it is. And I keep saying okay? If that's what it is, what in the hell happens after November? Because if he's elected back in, it's not like it's, well, it didn't work. You know it's not going to be that. If that's what it is.
Listen, if Trump's reelected, I'm wondering if the political powers that be will try to continue to shut down the economy, to shut down the nation, just to spite him, just to continue this. Look what you voters did, and now we're forced with 4 more years of COVID. Not 4 years of Trump, but you guys are going to be plagued with 4 years of COVID.
Of COVID policies.
Yep.
This
is the first time it's going to happen. We're fooling ourselves.
If that's what's going on, I'm really concerned if that's what happens. We're already in the middle of like a cyber civil war. You know, it's on top of a mini civil war, you know, of people already rising up against each other. You know, there's people posting videos on Facebook. I saw one today where it's like this guy went into the most racist part of the South or something like that and held up a Black Lives Matter sign and videotaped the entire thing. And they just kept showing people flipping him off and yelling at him and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. Well, I took a person that had a Police Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter and marched them through the nastiest parts of gangland territory of Los Angeles or something, the dude would be dead. You know, I mean, within probably the hour, if he was standing out there by himself.
Right.
So what's your point? There's racism on both sides. We both can agree that. How about we just stop talking about racism and we all love each other? But obviously that's easier said than done. But I'm just saying, like, there's all that shit's being passed around.
There's a very vocal minority as opposed to a silenced majority. That's how I view it. And it all comes from this idea of tolerance, right? Where tolerance is supposed to be the idea of accepting both sides or accepting someone else's opinions, regardless of what it is. But it's turned into this idea of, oh, you can only be tolerant of left-leaning ideas, but not of right-leaning. Again, going back to what we talked to earlier of, hey, if you're not with me, you're against me. There's no middle ground.
Right.
That's the one thing I see being a consistent problem in America from moving forward.
So we were supposed to be for all the rioters that were that started burning that building with that child inside it, and also tried to stop the emergency responders from getting to the building to put the fire out. We got to be for that or against that. I'll tell you right now where I am.
Well, yeah.
It's this, you can't do that. You can't do the all or nothing. There's lots of things that need to change, and there's lots of things that need to get kind of their ass whooped, you know? I mean, they back into shape. But how? So what do you see happening? In December, what do you think happens?
What needs to happen, or what do I see happening?
What do you see happening? Did Biden announce Kamala, or was that an accident? I read that it was an accident.
Hold up. That's concerning. Sorry. That was I think he was viewing her as a possible VP.
Yeah, and somebody announced it or something.
Making him so there's literally only 3 freaking months until election day, and you haven't chosen your VP.
There's a lot of weird shit going on with this election.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Can we all get on board, whether you're left or right? Can we all get on board that there's some weird shit going on with this election?
Yeah.
Just
yeah, we all can. It doesn't. That's a weird thing. It doesn't feel like an election year. It just feels like COVID.
Like everybody hates everybody.
It's just COVID and racial injustice have taken over the the headlines, and no other topic is breaking through. The election doesn't matter almost. I can't wait for the freaking first presidential debate. And it turned out that University of Notre Dame, I think, withdrew being the hosting location. So I want to know how these presidential debates are going to move forward, or are these universities and places just going to continue to reschedule or stop or not host a presidential debate because maybe they admit that can Joe Biden last for more than 30 minutes in a conversation?
No, he can't last longer than 3 minutes. He can't make he can't last longer than the 3-minute panel.
Dude, he called the climate crisis the climate crisis the other day, and on a podium in front of thousands of people or hundreds, I don't know, maybe.
He looks like a cartoon from Regular Show. So
what's Regular Show? Is that the one from with the bird?
Yeah.
Bird and the squirrel?
Yeah, they're always dealing with like weird alien stuff and like it's a Grim Reaper.
It's a great show.
Those are funny.
I love Cartoon Network.
So yeah, that was falsely announced that Kamala Harris was his VP running mate, and
he would choose Michelle Obama. That's just my personal opinion.
If
could you constitutionally pick Barack Obama to serve as your VP? Because then if that president is then assassinated or dies or whatever, then the VP would then assume the president position. But can you legally do that? You couldn't.
The 22nd Amendment restricts a candidate from being elected to the presidency for more than 2 terms. The 12th Amendment dictates that a vice president cannot be selected if they are not eligible for president.
Oh, okay. That makes
well, and that makes sense too, because if anything happens to the president, you obviously take over.
Exactly.
Which would be okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah, then Michelle Obama would
think so.
Home run. If that was the case.
Could you imagine if Michelle Obama announced that she was running with Kamala Harris as her running mate?
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm just saying that isn't that like a liberal wet dream?
Kamala Harris is responsible also for convicting people for like possession of marijuana, and so
that's easily curved.
Right.
That's easily curved.
Those are her early years as attorney general. I think you need more diversity. Like you need if it was Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris, by all means, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and
no.
I could see it.
God. Steven Seagal.
I think we're really getting to that point, though, that in the future, we are not going to care so much about the political. And I think we're seeing that with Trump, right? I think we're going to be seeing more celebrities choosing that presidential path and the public actually accepting it. I think Kanye West is a terrible example of a celebrity trying to run for president. But in the future, I really think we're going to be having like the Oprahs, the Rock, George Kittle.
Don't get all you're up, Kittle's butt.
Could run for president, and I think a lot of people would vote for him.
So you still haven't answered the question, you fucking politician. What do you see happening in December?
I see us still trying to come out of the COVID recession. By December, we'll have a hell of a lot more prisoners out on the street. No, I'm kidding.
Already do.
Yeah. By December, again, I think we're still in recovery mode. I really think so.
I'm worried. One way or another, I'm worried. I'm thinking that it's going to come down to state to state. If Trump gets elected back in, I feel like we're going to see basically a hissy fit from a lot of blue states and their in policies. And policies are going to be restricted at the wazoo, and we're going to see even more people leave to different states that are just going open or are booming or, allowing them to live. I have seen that weird. It's like it's almost already happening, I had a podcast with a friend of mine back in Missouri, and she's like, in the big city, there's mask requirements and stuff, but for the most part, we're all just fine
and free.
Yeah, but you don't hear about those states because it's just don't talk about them.
They almost want to be under the radar. They don't want attention brought to them because the second that there is, they'll have some regulation or some mandatory requirement that's going to force them to all wear masks or close down their economies or anything.
It looks like, I know for at least this year, I think I just talked with my kids' mom, and I think we're going to agree on, at least it looks this way, on homeschooling for this year only, because it's too much of, well, for this quarter, we're going to try distance learning, and then we'll see, and then we'll go back in possibly 2 days to 3 days off. And it's like, you know what? Kids have trouble enough just trying to focus on regular day schedules without adding a COVID mixture of schedules and them making them wear masks and stuff. I would rather just know I'm just gonna homeschool them and give them that stability for the year until they figure this shit out.
That's what me and my wife did. We actually and this goes against everything that I believe in. Like, I want my daughter to be in a classroom. My son's too young for school.
Of course.
But I really think that being in a classroom, socializing with other kids, not only in the classroom, but also on the playground and learning how to I hate the idea of my daughter being stuck in this bubble of just safety. And no, you got to freaking get out there, scrape your knees, learn how to deal with it, cry it out. I don't know, whatever. Yep. But we had to, I have relatives that are immunocompromised, and we had to sign my daughter up for 100% distance learning. Not that I wanted to, but that it just keeps the rest of my family safe. And it sucks because deciding to go 100% distance learning, there's no middle ground. Like, okay, let's say COVID situation gets better. Am I allowed to now send my kid to school? No, you signed your kid up for 100% distance learning. You have to stay there. So let's say in January, this whole situation is over with. and everyone like, okay, numbers are down to single digits, whatever. But my daughter still has to be in 100% distance learning. It makes no sense. I know I'm possibly screwing the pooch, but at the same time, I'm just looking at it like, dude, this is not going to go away. I'm just being completely honest, realistic.
Not as of right now. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going away. So
you gotta make one decision, filing one piece of paperwork to decide your whole fucking school year for 9 months. Like, we don't know the future. And it sucks because, like, I'm going to be working from home and having to still ensure that my daughter is doing her schoolwork. I mean, it's not working for working parents.
No. No. I'm semi looking forward to it. You know, I think it's just going to be kind of cool. Grab your homework, grab your schoolwork. You know, you're going to come with me. And I think it'll give him a sense of reality, maybe. You know, it's
reality. What do you mean?
It's real world. Like, hey, you got to go to work with me real quick, or you got to run this errand. You know, kind of
expose them to what you do in the real world.
Yeah,
working adult.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever did that, but like growing up, my dad drove trucks when I was a kid, and a lot of times he was gone throughout the night, so he would do the night shift. So he'd be coming in the house about, I'd say 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So I would go to school, and then he'd leave for work around the afternoon sometime. So before I got home. So I was super interested in what he did. And then there's like these days where you could sign a form and take your kid to school or work with you. So I got to ride truck with my dad and see what he did. So I literally got to ride in the big rig as a little guy. I passed out, but I was like, wow, Dad's like, he goes, you know, it's all night back in trailers into these. Yeah. So that kind of gave me a, it was a humbling effect. You know, it's that, oh, this is what you do. There was a reason why there was a take your kid to work day.
My take your kid to work day experience was a little bit different, considering my dad was in corrections.
Oh yeah.
Took me to this freaking like.
That's a humbling experience.
Oh, dude. It was like, my dad is telling me, hey, if you act up, you're going to end up like this guy. And this dude just like sprawled out, like
spun.
Spun as hell in like intake.
Yeah. I'm surprised they let him take a kid in.
What was that?
I'm surprised they let him take a kid in.
All behind glass. It was safe. This was like.
Oh, you're COVID safe then.
9 or something like that. I was only 9 years old. And I remember my dad taking me, and it was like, oh, cool. This is where my dad works. I never want to be here ever again. And in either capacity, like as an employee, like, or as a dude, those correctional officers, man, they got their fucking work cut out for them, dude. It's a tough job.
I have a buddy that's a correctional officer, and he's been one for a long time. I'm gonna have him on too. We're gonna sit.
Good.
BS. He's real good with the inmates, but he doesn't take any shit either.
Well, that's like my dad. He was a correctional counselor. So hey, he's hearing about these guys' stories about what do they like, what do they not like, how are you doing, how are you doing with your programming, did you like the lunch today? So it's he had a very like personal relationship with each and every inmate within his ward or within his unit. And so there were nights where he would come home at like 9 o'clock at night because he was trying to talk an inmate down from, you know, committing suicide in prison. And that shit takes a toll on you. Like, yeah, you've got to keep your numbers up. So many appointments with inmates, but if you get caught on one of those, where an inmate says, I want to end my life. That shit, I will give you all the hours in the world.
You know what job I don't ever want? I never is a 911 operator.
I would hate to be like a crime scene like cleaner upper.
I would rather do that than a 911 operator.
Okay.
Just because I think you're dealing with the aftermath and you can already process that it's done. Whereas as an operator, you feel so helpless and you're dealing with that panic constantly. You're like, stay calm, hide under the bed, don't make a sound, or whatever the situation is. You're dealing with that coming in at full volume every single day. I would feel so helpless, You would go home with that. If you ever listened to a murder or something like that, if you ever had to hear that where they couldn't get to them or something through the headphones or their whatever, like they go home with that.
Yeah, and it's tough to leave your job at the door and come into home and want to play with your kids and be
at any place. Yeah, at any place. At any place.
Agreed. Yeah.
So imagine what it's like for them. Imagine what it's like for any type of your dad, a correctional officer, a police officer, sheriff, whatever, coroner.
And I think there's with this Black Lives Matter movement, I don't think that there's enough of a perspective of what the officers have to do on an everyday basis. I think we cherry pick certain instances where something bad happens and associate that and stereotype people, whether it's for their profession or their race. It sucks. It really sucks because you don't get to see all the good that they do. And because of that George Floyd incident, the one officer that has been dedicating his whole life to trying to change that perception of law enforcement officers now has to work 10 times harder to convince that, young kid that already has a negative perception of law enforcement. He has to work 10 times harder to convince him that, listen, we're trying to be your friend. We're trying to change our community for the better. And it's not being seen right now.
No, but like I said with you, that change comes from the inside, and that's where people need to be focused, is not abolish. Why don't you change it from the inside? Teach your kids to grow up and change. If there's a systematic issue that you truly believe in, show them how to change it from the inside. Right. And work towards that, because it's not going to be done overnight. It's not going to be done by one guy. It's going to be done by a slew of Americans that go in time after time and make subtle changes and go, hey, that's not right. We got to adjust that a little bit. And this is where we don't put up with the crap. This is so. Anyways, it's. Dude, every episode, I need sports. But that's why we got to get off pretty soon, because my Boston Celtics are playing. Yeah.
I'm a Kings fan, and I already know we're going to be like one and done type of situation.
Oh, here in about an hour, my Celtics tip off. I am waiting for it to come back. I cannot get on board with the don't patronize me with your pumped in crowd volume. Don't give me your cardboard cutouts. Don't give me this shit.
As well be watching like NBA 2K. That's
yeah, yes.
Stupid people in the background going like this just constantly. It just blows my mind how they think that this is real sports. No,
right.
When they call it the NBA bubble, it 100% is a bubble.
You know what they should have done if they wanted to do that? is literally just, why don't you just cover every single seat with green and green screen it?
That's a good point. I have the idea. Hold on. You get your VR headset and you buy a ticket to like a camera.
That'd be a great idea.
And you pay like maybe $25 and you're able to like look around and see what's going on from court level.
I'd do that. Hell yeah. Because you're giving people the opportunity to be like courtside, but it's not like that seat's taken, you know?
Exactly.
You could stream it constantly.
I think you can have 100,000 people pay $25 for that one seat. It's
a good idea. It's a good idea. Anybody's listening.
Anyone want to invest in Spenny Vision?
Spenny Vision. SpennyTickets.com. Spenny Tix. TIX. Oh, I like it. So is your boy Kittle, since you like to mention him, is he gonna get a deal or what?
Dude, there is like such a huge. I'm reading all these reports that John Lynch is really optimistic about signing him, but there's apparently a huge disconnect. I literally just got the notification. Maybe.
Did you see what he's set to make in 2020 as of right now?
What?
2.13
million?
That's it.
That sucks because like
the average is like 10 million, I think.
Is making he's making 750,000 just base, and there are incentives built into that contract. I think it happens, but it's all going to come down to what is the NFL cap space going to be next year. There's rumored that it's only going to be 175 million, coming down from like, I think it's around 210 right now. They were expecting it to go up to 220 next year. And this cut is going to affect a lot of veterans. It's going to affect a lot of teams. People are not going to be happy. And I think your earlier statement about this is showing all the signs of a NFL strike. 100% believe that. I think a lot of veterans that are pissed off.
It might be coming. I don't want to admit it, but it might be coming. I mean, we got to brace ourselves. I'm excited that basketball is about to tip off, but at the same time, you've got people breaking out with COVID and then they're shutting people down. It's like, okay, so let me ask you this.
The Marlins had 6 players test positive?
Yeah, fucking Florida, man.
Florida.
Ricky! Anyways, let's do a hypothetical. As of right now, what are they doing with the Marlins? Like, those games are completely just postponed?
They're just postponed. I think they move them to the end of the season or something like that.
Yeah, because what happens if LeBron James comes down with COVID? You can't go forward without LeBron, because that's not
a moneymaker right there.
Right. Then you're just going to hear, oh, we didn't do anything because LeBron was out with COVID. And then if you hold it off, you're pulling back momentum.
Yes. Yeah, no.
I mean, I don't know. This is crazy, but I'm going to watch whatever I can watch. But just please stop pumping the volume. Stop pumping the crowd shit in there. It's throwing me off. It's like when you hear yourself on a delay.
It might just be from like a viewer standpoint that they only pump it into like NBC or ESPN, but it's not coming from like the court.
I don't care.
Courtside noise?
No, I don't know. I don't care where it's coming from. Just stop it.
Okay.
Just stop it all. There's nobody there.
It completely sounds like it completely sounds like NBA 2K.
Yeah,
I'm watching soccer lately. That's how bad my addiction to sports has gone. I'm a Manchester United fan. Whoop whoop. And they pump that crowd volume in, and I'm like, does this the players, they don't give a shit. It's like a practice to them.
I would much rather, to be honest, like I would much rather they not, because you know how sick, like say you saw those two teams playing, say you saw the Celtics and the Lakers playing on a court in downtown Sacramento. You would sit down and watch and listen to literally everything they were saying to each other. So you want to hear that. I mean, we already have those mic'd up clips and stuff. Let it stop pumping the volume in. We want to hear them.
Great. I think that'd be a great marketing tool.
Yeah. Give us that opportunity right now.
Everyone is mic'd up. You hear everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And an additional feature to Spenny Vision is
censored and uncensored.
And you can have your favorite player access to their mic the whole game.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But the crowd noise, I can't stand it because I keep looking at the crowd. I'm like, okay, there's nobody there. Stop it. Just stop it already. It's throwing me off.
Filling up all of the seats with like advertising space.
Wonderful. That's okay.
Because the league needs to make money.
Patrick Mahomes, new part owner of the Kansas City Royals. How do you feel about that? We just talked about this. We talked about what would you do with a fuck ton of money, and what did we say? Buy a team.
Buy a team. You are right. We did say that. So
we said we do the Mark Cuban.
I totally would invest in being a part owner, and I would go probably every one of my favorite teams. I don't know what the buy-in is though. For those.
Yeah, I was trying to look up the details what percentage he got.
Maybe he got a fucking deal on it too, because I mean, his dad was a pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, so maybe they're like, maybe this is just a legacy thing that we should be promoting. It would also bring exposure to our organization, yada yada. So maybe they give him a discount on becoming a part-time owner. Or
either way, smart move on him.
Totally smart.
Great. I mean, if I had that stupid money, that's what I would have bought, is a team or a part of a team.
Yeah.
Or I would try to at least get majority ownership.
Majority ownership?
Yeah. Like
with only $500 million, I'm pretty sure it's a lot more.
Well, it depends. I don't know. Are the Bengals up for sale?
They should be.
If we're talking about a budget.
I think the Bengals and the Jets are the two NFL teams that need to fucking.
I would never buy the Jets. Strictly
because of my love for Adam Sandler and the goddamn Jets.
Yeah, but strictly for tax reasons. That is an expensive place to try and succeed.
That's very true, actually.
That's one thing that a lot of athletes take into consideration when they talk about going to New York. Any place in New York is it's like, yeah, you might earn $100 million, but you're only pulling home 60 or whatever the after.
Say that, dude, because the Niners first round pick tweeted out just a few days ago, Uncle Sam, you motherfucker. And I commented on the Instagram post that featured that tweet, and I'm like, welcome to California. Sincerely, Taxes.
Yep.
It's I don't blame any player for not wanting to come to California just because of the tax stuff. You're getting 50% of your shit just cut.
I don't blame any individual who's moving out of California simply just for the tax stuff.
Yeah. Make your name known in California and then move the hell out. Same thing with just employment opportunities, right? So you work in the Bay Area, you get your pension or in your retirement or whatever, and you move out of state, living the fucking dream.
Yep. I know one of my folks' friends sold his house in Sacramento and bought 3 in Missouri. Something like that. Yeah, it's just stupid.
Looking at Montana right now, if you could move out of state, what state would it be?
Out of state?
Yeah.
As of right now, well, we've already talked about the 3 states would probably either be Texas, Tennessee, or Missouri. Ohio has actually come up quite a bit because it seems like from a distance at least, it seems like Ohio's kind of on this boom, this industry town that seems to be kind of booming. So it's cheap, but
talking about just Cleveland or what in Ohio?
I'm not sure. I don't want to live in like a city.
Okay.
I want to live near a city, but more in the rural areas. Kind of like how I do now, about an hour or 2 out from a big city.
Okay.
Yeah. Because again, we've really felt no effect up here. It's everywhere else.
I've just from my musical love for playing, I've always looked at Tennessee and Texas, specifically Nashville and Austin. Those cities are kind of on the up and up. A lot of employment opportunities, just overall great standard of living, despite the whole tornado thing in Tennessee.
Wildfires here.
If it weren't, the climate in California, you can't beat it.
No.
But
that's what we keep coming back to. That is literally that's it, is the weather.
It's the X factor right there.
Texas wouldn't be too bad just because I think you just get really hot.
I hate the heat. I love the cold. I actually, you know what? Oregon's a great state.
You want to go to Portland right now?
Side of Portland. Anything but Portland.
Did you see the fence that they're going to be charging the feds for the fence that's protecting the courthouse? Oh my God. Tear it down. Let them at it.
Is that going to solve the issue? Is that going to solve the issue of racism?
But you're going to save a bunch of officers, and you're going to save the department from hemorrhaging a ton of money. Give them what they want. Let them tear the system down, and then they should be responsible for that decision. The moment that fence goes down, if anything happens to that courthouse, it's all on the people that told them they should take it down.
I would throw my hands up and say, if you expect any tax dollars to be spent to rehabilitate that courthouse.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. What about all these areas that are declaring a state of emergency due to the fact that there's rioters destroying shit? So now they're gonna take emergency funding to fix what they wouldn't police.
Hey, isn't that funny? It all comes down to money again.
Can't do this shit, Spencer. I can't do it.
Sorry. Yeah, again, it all comes down to money, and we'll declare all these states of emergency. And it's funny because Trump has granted California each and every year it's had a wildfire that, hey, we got your back. We will give you the money to deal with the fires. 100%. Yet they continue to bash him. It just makes no sense to me.
Well, that's not. I mean, he did get after Newsom and said, "Hey, you got to get your funding shit in there, the whole fire abatement that there needs to be money going to the prevention of wildfires rather than other locations
to be assessed. Under the Obama administration, there were multiple uses of the Antiquities Act to then turn certain parks and lands under federal control. But there was no additional funding for maintenance over those federal lands that were now under the feds' control. So you've got these wildfires that are sprouting up. A lot of times in California, they'll sprout up on federal lands and then spread. Big reason for that is because the federal government prior to the Trump administration hadn't funded maintenance of those forest lands properly. So we're having these wildfires because these forests, they've got this duff that's just been building at the bottom of them that haven't been addressed for years, decades. And all of a sudden it's Trump's fault? No, you claimed responsibility over these areas and didn't do anything to maintain them. It's like buying a $2 million house, just letting it, the vines grow up, the fucking plumbing go to shit, and not doing anything to repair it. That's my spiel right there.
Yeah, and I agree. It's he was just getting after him. Like, you can have your funding, but it needs to be going to the right areas. He was treating it like a business. Like, hey, allocate the funds correctly, and we won't have an issue.
Right. And a lot of it too, though, is private landowners, but because of how expensive it is to live in California, who has the money to maintain their lands efficiently? Anyway,
not many, but that's why everybody's fleeing to other states.
Did you see the photo of, I think it was a van, and then it had a trailer, and it said "Bye California" for taxpayers not dealing with your bullshit policies?
I saw that. I see that all the time, though. Like, there's pictures always posted of people leaving California. That's what I mean. Like, I can personally count at least 5 or 6 friends or family members that I know that have specifically left California because of its politics and its policies. And I'm talking within the past 7 years.
On Forbes, they just released a list of states that people are moving to and people are moving away from. California, surprisingly, is drawing people in, but it's only for employment. Because despite all that's fucking happening right now, there are still jobs in California compared to the rest of the nation.
We're full of people, we're full of industry, but we're also, I think we're overcrowded. Massively overcrowded.
I mean, the state of California has the same population or more residents than the entire country of Canada.
Wow.
Just to put that in perspective.
Why are we getting back on this shit? Why do we keep getting back onto politics? Oh, that's right.
Sorry, dude. It's just how my mind works.
No, I know. I get you.
Responsibility.
All right, buddy. Well, I think that's about it. We'll wrap this up because I have tip off here. I got to get my green jersey on.
Enjoy it.
I'm excited to watch.
Jersey? What are you wearing?
Yeah, probably my bird. I'd love to get a Robert Parrish jersey. That'd be badass. But
I need a Mike Bibby.
A Bibby, Team Dime.
Dude, have you seen him lately? He's jacked. Oh my god.
He's got some court issues, I hear.
I've seen that. Yeah.
He's got some marital. It's weird how these dudes will get fucking jacked and then all of a sudden they have these like female abusive issues.
And then all of a sudden deflate
Well,
to look good for the court. Like, I didn't
he's jacked though. He looks weird. Weird.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He's like his son's high school basketball coach or something like that.
Well, T minus, I don't know how many days till NFL kickoff. What is
It's less than 50.
if there will be an NFL kickoff?
There won't.
You really think?
Put my money on it. I think we're screwed.
Okay.
We're gonna push it out a month.
Okay, so want a friendly bet this?
Go.
Okay. You think we're gonna push it out a month?
Month and a half.
Okay. I bet you we will have kickoff as scheduled. It'll probably halt in the middle, maybe by game 3. But I bet you it'll be at least kickoff as scheduled. Okay.
Imagine this happening. We start, bunch of players come down with COVID, and then we just have one game. No, we have week 1. Then pause 2 weeks for all the positive players to get over it. Week 2, pause another 2 weeks. Week 3. That's I could see a staggered schedule. I think that's just my money. That's
Okay.
right there.
Let's do a friendly bet. I got our picks down here. We differ on literally, let's see.
5.
Hold on. I'm gonna go down here. We'll go through them. So I've got our picks written down. At the end of the week, if you win more picks than I do, I will call in a pizza for you and your family and pay for it and have it delivered on a night of your choosing that week, and vice versa. Yeah, pizza pick'ems. I love it.
Boom.
Pizza pick'ems. Cool. All right. So we've got the first week, Chiefs versus the Texans. I'm taking the Texans. You're taking the Chiefs. Second week, we both have the Eagles, so that's a wash. Third game, Dolphins and Pats. That's where we differ. You got Dolphins. I've got Pats. We agree on the Vikings. We agree on the Colts. We agree on the Lions. We agree on the Raiders. I've got Jets, and you've got the Bills. We agree on the Rams. We agree on the Seahawks. We differ on the Bengals-Charger game. I got Bengals. You got Chargers.
Your bias.
I actually picked your team right after you said that. and you've got the Cards. I've got the Bucks. You've got the Saints. You've got LA. I've got the Cowboys. You've got Pittsburgh. I've got New York. I've got Broncos. You've got Titans. So we've actually got a few games that we're out here for.
We're at odds.
So if it comes down to a tie, if we're tied, it comes down to the Monday night game. So we pick. If it's a tie, we pick total amount of score without going over. So both scores combined.
Okay.
And that's the tiebreaker if there's a tie. Do you get what I mean? So if we're tied by Sunday and we both have picked the same Monday night game,
it's going to go by score. Who had the most points?
Right. We're going to pick I'll pick 33 and then you pick something. And then if it goes over 33, obviously I lose, or it's whoever's closest.
You were talking about like, okay, we're gonna pick our teams from those that differed, who won.
No, just the Monday night game.
Got it.
Yeah, because we used to do that in the past where it's real easy so everybody can play, and then Monday night's always a tiebreaker because typically you'll end up with somebody that has 7 wins, and then they both pick the same guy on Monday night. So you have to break that tie.
That's my points. Okay, who's the Monday night game?
Monday night games: Titans and Broncos.
So I'm gonna say Titans.
I'm just gonna say total points. Both teams.
Points.
Yeah, combined. 50. All right, you got 54.
Yes.
I got 34. All right.
I feel like I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I chose first. Price is Right.
You can change yours. Change it.
Or 49.
Change it if you want to.
No, it's cool. I'm gonna
54. All right, I got them written down. Hopefully we can have some fun out of this because I'm tired of talking about serious shit.
Agreed.
All right, buddy.
Man, take care. My book comes out next. No, I'm kidding. I'm playing.
February.
Neverwary. Why not?
My next book comes out after we've dealt with COVID.
Yeah. Whenever the publishers can actually touch my book.
My pages.
Sneezing in a few.
It's okay. I was wearing a mask.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Follow us, like us on Facebook at The Morning Brew Podcast. Subscribe, check out our YouTube channel, and everybody, stay sane out there.